Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Friday, April 11th, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $, ORIONNWSF, or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got the Texas Rangers versus the Seattle Mariners. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 5 minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get settled in for some Friday night baseball. Let's get it, baby. And on the thumb, on the left, you know who it is. Right fielder, Adolis Garcia. And on the right, our guy, J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Texas Rangers. Leading off for the Rangers at second base, Marcus Semien. Batting second, playing shortstop, Corey Seager. Batting third, playing left field, Josh Smith. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, right field, Adolis Garcia. Batting fifth, DHing today for Texas, Jock Peterson. Batting sixth, playing third base, Josh Young. Batting seventh, playing first base for the Rangers, Jake Burger. Batting eighth, catching today for Texas, Jonah Heim. And batting ninth, playing center field, Leody Taveras. And on the mound for the Rangers, it is Jacob deGrom. Now let's get into the starting lineups for your Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners in center field, Julio Rodriguez. Batting second, DHing today for Seattle, Jorge Polanco. Batting third, catching today for the Mariners, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, left fielder, Randy Arozarena. Batting fifth, playing right field, Luke Ringley. Batting sixth, playing first base, Rowdy Tellez. Batting seventh, playing third base, Miles Mastrobuoni. Batting eighth, playing second base, Leo Rivas. And batting ninth, playing shortstop, J.B. Crawford. And on the mound for the Mariners, it is Miller time. Bryce Miller. Let's go Mariners. And we'll be shooting for 20 likes within the first hour, 30 to 50 if we get the volume, and obviously 100 in the donos on every single stream. What's good, brother? How are you? And good luck today with the Rays as well. You know, obviously in this long, deep season, you don't really know what's going to happen, you know, on any given day. But hopefully you guys will have a little bit of luck this evening as well. Let's go Mariners.
Oh my gosh.
Go, baby. We got a few minutes before we get into obviously the first pitch. So let me get settled in here where there are all the screens and everything that I need. One sec. We'll be starting it off with Marcus Semien in the box and Bryce Miller on the mound. First pitch scheduled for right about now there at T-Mobile Park. Let's bring that electricity today. Let's get it, baby. Let's go Mariners. And it's going to be tough. We got a 3-game set, you know, hosting the Rangers. And then after that, we go on the road for a 3-game set against the Cincinnati Reds and LA de la Cruz, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week, after we do the Friday, Saturday, Sunday here thing against Texas. And then after the Reds on the road, we have no days off, and we immediately travel from Cincinnati to Toronto to face the Blue Jays. So it's definitely going to be an interesting stretch. Hopefully we can win 2 out of 3 in every series, but realistically, this is the first place team in the AL West. We might only end up winning 1 out of 3 in this particular series, but we do have our best pitchers kind of going at it. So I do feel confident that with Bryce Miller and Brian Wu and Logan Gilbert against the Rangers, and then we have Luis Castillo against the Reds and his former team, we should have a chance. And then when we go to the Blue Jays, we should sort of, kind of have some of our stronger guys at that particular point as well. So kind of wait and see how it all plays out. But again, we're still a little bit behind the 8 ball, so to speak. Texas is 9-4. We're 5-8. So I don't think anyone really anticipated a 5-8 start to start the year. But we've had a lot of injuries and a lot of inconsistent play. Some of the pitching has been a little bit suspect. Defense been a little bit suspect. Bullpen been a little suspect, and obviously hitting. We've been about a 200 hitting team, for the last 3, 4, 5 years, and that definitely needs to change. So hopefully we can get it going here tonight. Let's go Mariners. They got WWE in Seattle as well for SmackDown. Obviously, a big attraction there. Let me go grab my drink here real quick, and we'll be all set to go in just a moment. Go, baby. And if you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. We'll be shooting for 20 likes within the first hour, 30 to 50 overall, and obviously 100 in the donos on every single stream. Let's get it, baby. Looks like we're halfway to 10, and we're almost there. We're at 6, 4 more to 10, 14 more to 20. We'll be good to go. Once we hit 20, then we can kind of hit the algorithm on YouTube and whatnot. So, go, baby. Go. All right, we're all set up now. We need a strong outing here out of Bryce Miller. All right, here we go. And obviously we have Simeon out there since they were having some broadcast difficulties. Now we're good to go. Through the broadcast, Corey Seager next up to bat. First pitch is outside from Bryce Miller. 1-0 count. Corey Seager, 220 average, 3 homers so far in this early 2025 season. And against Bryce Miller, 3 for 5 with 2 home runs in his MLB career. Next pitch is low and at the knees, 2 balls and no strikes. We need Bryce to be able to get his first win, and hopefully he'll be able to get it here tonight. Let's go Miller. It is Miller time, baby. 2-0 pitch. Pitch is outside. 3-0 count. Not the start that you want to see so far against Corey Seager. And again, this team has got a lot of dogs. Simeon, Seager, Smith, Garcia, Jock Peterson, Young, Berger, added in the offseason, Hyman, Tavares. So essentially the same team, just adding Jock Peterson and Jake Berger as of late. And finally a strike right down the middle to prevent 4 bad pitches in a row. Come on, Bryce. We're going to need the good version of you. You're wearing the City Connects here tonight. Let's go. Top of the first, 0-0. Bryce Miller on the mound. Seager in the box. High heat inside. Crush, fading, foul. Count now remains full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Seager in the box. Miller on the mound. 3-2 pitch. Pitch is low and into the dirt. Not the greatest start here for Bryce Miller starting it off. And Corey Seager going to first with a walk. Top of the first with 1 out. Simeon with that first out. Seager with the walk. And now next up, left fielder in the 3-hole, Josh Smith. Let's go, baby. First pitch, right down the middle, big high heat, big swing and a miss. 0-1 count. Let's go, baby. 308 average, 1 homer, and 2 ribbies early on for Josh Smith. Playing left field here tonight. 0-1 pitch. Oh, he shows bunt. Going towards third base. And the throw is low. And that's how you do it. I've been kind of mentioning, how important it is to be able to drop bunts down, and the really good teams do it, and the teams that are kind of mid and bad don't, or they don't do it as often. Perfectly executed bunt from a guy that normally wouldn't drop a bunt, and what happens? You end up getting either a third baseman or a pitcher trying to barehand it. It ends up being a low throw to Tellez. Now you have runners safe at first and second, and that's how you execute the bunt. Nice job. Mariners, take notes. Right fielder, Adolis Garcia up next. Jacob in the building. What's good? Oh, awesome. Great to hear, my guy. Top of the first, 0-0. Rangers and Mariners with 1 out. Runners at first and second. Great bunt execution there by Smith, and hopefully we can find a double play to get out of this inning, especially against a strong hitter like right fielder Adolis Garcia. City Connect Uni's looking fresh out there. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss by Garcia, behind in the count now 0-2. Top of the first, 0-0. Runners at first and second with 1 out. Bryce Miller on the mound. Adolis Garcia in the box. Garcia struggling a little bit this season. 190 average, 2 homers and 5 ribbies early on. But it is early still in the season. And they are the #1 team in the AL West, the Texas Rangers. We got a few games to kind of catch up. Hopefully we can win 2 out of 3 here, 2 out of 3 against the Reds and Ellie De La Cruz, and 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays, as well as Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but easier said than done. 0-2 pitch incoming from Miller to Garcia. Popped up, fading, foul. Two pitch. Check swing. Did he go? No, he did not. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Garcia from Bryce Miller. Let's go. Got to get off to a fast start against a team like this. One-two pitch. Pitch is inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Let's go, Bryce. We need you, baby. Two-two pitch. Garcia crushes that one. Fading foul. Top of the first, 0-0. 1 out, 2 on. Runners at first and second with 1 out. Bryce Miller on the mound. A little sluggish start to Adolis Garcia. Let's go, Mariners. Two pitch. Pitch is way high and outside. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And I was really hoping that Bryce Miller was going to start the season strong, but he may end up being the worst starter out of the 5. You know, I didn't really think that he would be worse than Luis Castillo up to this point, you know, starting off the year. But, you know, based off record and how I've seen, you know, his pitches and his vibe, you know, it may be, and obviously George Kirby is still hurt, and we're not going to get him until probably the beginning of May around my birthday. So, and Garcia popped up, and hopefully that will stay into play here. Julio's there. There we go, Julio. 2 away. Next up for the Rangers, DHing Jock Peterson. I would assume right now, you know, Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, Luis Castillo, then Bryce Miller, since we don't have access to Kirby just yet. And then obviously Emerson Hancock and Luis F. Castillo have been both sent down after limited starts because they are terrible. So we need to find that 5th guy, and hopefully we'll be able to find him. First pitch of Jock is high and outside. 1-0 count. Pitch popped up and fading foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. Buck in the building. How are you? Anna in the building. What's good? A little bit of a sluggish start here, you know, with Bryce. Obviously 0-2 record to start off the year, and you know, if you would have told me that he would be this sluggish early on, I would have said you're lying. But again, it kind of feels like maybe Logan Gilbert 1, Brian Wu 2, Luis Castillo 3, and then Bryce Miller 4, since, you know, Kirby's not available yet. And then obviously we've sent down Emerson Hancock and Luis F. Castillo, and we're still wondering who number 5 is going to be at some point. Top of the first, 0-0 Rangers and Mariners. Runners at first and second with 2 out. 2-1 count from Bryce to Jock Peterson. Let's go. Pitch is outside. 3 balls and 1 strike. But Bryce, you know, he's kind of that guy that throws the heat like Wu, and you need him to be accurate, right? And George Kirby usually is going to be the accuracy guy, and he's a location guy like a Greg Maddux. So you're not going to have the high heat typically, you know. But usually like Luis Castillo, Brian Wu, Bryce Miller, they're going to throw it as hard as they can. But when you have that mindset, sometimes that ball is going to be all over the place. And so far, Bryce looks very shaky. You know, not only in his first 2 starts, but, you know, in this particular start as well. And that one is just on the top of the zone, and another walk. Ana, buenos dias. Vamos, Mariners. Let's go. Maneros. Let's go. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Next up, after Jock Peterson with that walk, Josh Young. And we need to get out of this inning. We don't want to be down 1, 2, 3, 4 right out of the gates. Come on, baby. Settle in, Bryce. Here we go. And we get out of the inning, thank God. And you got to think about how many times that we typically end up, starting off with like bases loaded against us. And it ends up being a disaster, and then you end up being down 2, 3, 4 runs in the first or second inning. And that's when with our pitching staff, when we're on, right, we don't give up anything within the first couple innings. But if we end up giving up 1 to 3 runs within the first 2 to 3 innings, that typically means we're fucked, or we have to wait till obviously the starting pitching goes out, and then we have that sprint. At the end of the game in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, being down 5-0 to the Astros, we were able to come back and win 7-6. But remember, that's not going to happen every time we end up matching up to a team. All right, here we go. Now pitching for the Rangers, Jacob deGrom. He may not be the same pitcher as he was, years ago, but he's still a threat. Leading off for the Mariners, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. DHing for the Mariners while he heals up the surgically repaired knee and hip. Jorge Polanco, we need you to be balling. Let's go. And batting third, you need to step up. Catcher, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Let's go, Mariners. It all depends if the broadcast, mentions it, if they bring it up or not. I know Cal Raleigh has a torpedo bat, and some of the players liked him and some of them didn't like him. But, we'll kind of wait and see based on the broadcast. If they do a little zoom in on the bat, we can kind of tell. And the sweet spot, if it's a little bit bigger there. But, it really just depends on if they bring it up or not through the radio broadcast, the team broadcast, or if you're watching the Rangers broadcast through Victory Plus. But that was on socials earlier today. Julio popped up, and that should be an easy out, 1 away. But the main thing is the ballpark is the hardest, ballpark to hit at. And I was reading some, articles, based on the time of the games, between 4, 5, and 6 o'clock, where it's not just the Mariner hitters, it's just the hitters that come into this particular area. Polo, back, see ya! And that's what I'm talking about, baby. Jorge Polanco, welcome back, baby, into the lineup, and that's exactly what we wanted. Now, we don't expect home runs from Polo, but we will take it. Let's go. 1-0 Mariners. Woo! That's what I'm talking about, baby. Wow. Let's go. Hell yeah. Polo, baby. Let's go, baby. And obviously, torpedo bats, can help, but you have to get contact. And we're not a very good contact hitting team. We're one of the bottom 5, hitting teams in baseball typically. So. And on that 1-1 pitch, Polo crushing the fuck out of that baseball. Good catch out there by that fan. Nice job. Flex with a tour. Appreciate you. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks. Little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. Appreciate you. We're at 2:98 to go. Yeah, beating the Astros was amazing, and I was going to throw Randy on the thumb, but as I started to put him on the thumb, he almost looks identical to Adolis Garcia if you actually look at their faces. So I'll save Randy probably for another thumb, maybe tomorrow. or the last game in the set. Let's go, baby. Nice missile by Polo there. And I might have to flip this here real quick. One sec. Click out of this one and go here. Give me a sec. All right, here we go. Hopefully this will work better for me. Bottom of the first, 1-0 Mariners. And give me one sec here. All right, I gotta flip this real quick. This one is not. Give me one sec here. Good now. And no one has ever, ever said that Cal Raleigh is a Hall of Famer. No, there's no Hall of Famers on the Mariners right now. So I love it when people try to put words in my mouth, but haters will hate, and again, we know that Cal has the potential, to possibly be an all-star type of catcher. But again, you got to get the batting average up. But if you're looking at home runs and being a clutch hitter, in the first few seasons of his career, he's definitely on the right path if he can get that batting average up. But, obviously, so far here in 2025, it's been a little bit of a disappointment, but we are still early in the season. We got a 2-2 count here to Cal Raleigh. Two pitch. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And let me know what you want to do photo-wise, if any, and I got you. I mean, we potentially could, have maybe, a Hall of Famer, or two, but again, at this point, it doesn't really look like it's going to be, Cal or Julio based off numbers. I mean, if you were going to pick one player, it would be Logan Gilbert, but even it's too early to say Logan Gilbert at this point. So, you got a long ways to go before you start saying something like that. So, and that's never been said here on the channel. So, haters will love to hate. Put words in our mouths that we never even said. Smackdown in Seattle right now as well. Randy Rosarian taking a strike, 0-1 count. Under the count, 0-2. Yeah, and I don't know if really anybody needs a torpedo bat in Seattle. I mean, we have a hard time hitting as it is, and you got to get contact, for the torpedo bat to be able to help. But a couple players are using them, and we'll end up seeing if they like it or not. Pitch is outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. But I know Randy was swinging it, earlier today, and I think he likes it. Cal's got one, but I don't think the whole team is using them. You're just going to get a few guys probably trying them out and seeing if it works or not for them. And popped up. And it's a pretty easy 1-2-3, but at least we ended up getting the unexpected solo jack there by Jorge Polanco to give us the 1-0 lead. See who's up next here for the Rangers in the bottom of the second. Next up in the bottom of the second, first baseman Jake Berger. Batting second, catcher Jonah Heim. And batting third, center fielder Leody Taveras. Let's go Mariners. Yeah, I don't know if, I mean, the only ones that I've heard, I've seen a photo of Cal's bat. I know Randy, they had a little interview with him. But other than that, I don't really know who else is using one tonight unless they bring it up on the radio broadcast, the Victory Plus broadcast through the Rangers, or obviously on Root Sports. So, but I imagine it'll be something that they'll be talking about at some point or another. Let's go, baby. Need that Soto mojo. Let's go, M's. Jake Berger struck out looking. One away. Some technical difficulties on their end here, so. Next up, catcher Jonah Heim. First pitch in there to Jonah Heim for a strike looking. 0-1 count. Top of the second, 1-0 Mariners. Top of the second, 1-0 Mariners, 1 out, 0-1 pitch, which is low, 1 ball and 1 strike from Bryce Miller to Jonah Heim. Yeah, you would think that would, because again, baseball obviously is part mental, right? Obviously the physicality part is a part of it, but also there's a big mental part, to not get depressed, to not, have that anxiety, in the box or when you're playing defense, and to not get in your head. And, it's one of the hardest things to do, Again, even some of the best baseball players are only hitting 3 out of 10. It's not like you get guys that are regularly hitting 5 out of 10 or 6 out of 10 and batting 500 or 600 for the season. So like the difference between having a job might be hitting 2 out of 10 or 3 out of 10. So, and if you go 1 out of 10, you might be in the minor leagues or not have a job at all. Popped up, 2 away. But regardless if we use the torpedo bat or not, as long as it helps us win, and it doesn't mess up any of the technique and whatnot. But again, the technique for some of the players may need to be adjusted. So next up is Leody Taveras. Big swing and a miss behind in the count, 0-1. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. We'll be shooting for 20 within the first hour, 30 to 50 if we hit the algorithm. Big swing and a miss behind in the count now, 0-2 for Bryce Miller to Leody Taveras. And obviously shoot for 100 in the donos on every single stream. Let's go, Bryce. Settle in. Tavares in the box. Bryce Miller on the mound. And that's a violation there, and that's strike three. Hey, you know, you'll take any type of strike three you can get with a violation in the box or not, but we'll take it. Go to the bottom of the second inning and see if we can add on some insurance to this early lead against the first place Texas Rangers. 9-4 versus the 5-8 Seattle Mariners. We got to get kind of caught up in the standings, but if we can win 2 out of 3 in this series, 2 out of 3 in Cincinnati, and then 2 out of 3 in Toronto against Vladimir Guerrero Jr., we can kind of get back into where we need to be, and hopefully, you know, a sweep against a team at some point will hopefully happen. Next up for the Mariners, right fielder Luke Raley. Batting second, playing first base, probably needs to be sent down to AAA, not good enough to be on our team or any team at this point, Rowdy Tellez. And batting third, playing third base for Dylan Moore, Miles Mastrobuoni. And then obviously with the Ryan Bliss injury, you know, him being out for 4 to 5 months, we're going to have Leo Rivas at least a short term, maybe long term. And I think that he'll play, you know, just as good as Bliss, if not better. I think he's a better hitter than Bliss. Defender, we'll wait and see. Bliss was obviously better at, you know, at defense than in the box, but some of our farm guys not ready yet, but hopefully, you know, they will be at some point during the season. Let's go, baby. Oh, really? And shout out to a guy. I know he works nights, but he ended up sending a little $5 dono, you know, after the stream was already completely over, that I ended up getting a notification late last night. So it's always good to be able to get that support, regardless if it's in stream or, you know, later in the middle of the night when someone's just trying to, you know, be able to keep busy and be entertained. So shout out to a guy, and shout out to my boy Brooks Beats. Appreciate you. We got Jacob deGrom here on the mound and Luke Raley in the box. And Raley grounded out to first, 1 away. Yeah, he is. Natman in the building. What's good? Next up is Rowdy Tellez. First pitch fouled off on a four-seam fastball. 0-1 count. Let's go Mariners. Polo with that early home run. And again, we're going to need him since he's not very good, you know, at defense anyways. Hopefully, you know, they'll figure out if they want Dylan Moore, or we'll see if this Mastrobuoni thing is just kind of a trial. They have to move guys around. But, you know, Dylan Moore did have, you know, an error here, and I gave up a few games back. But, you know, it's probably our best bet at third, but we'll see. Big strike swinging there on a changeup from deGrom to Tellez. Oh, baby, and there it is. Back, gone. And finally, you know, we get these guys that are thick, right? We get guys that are like Mike Ford, Carlos Santana, Jared Vogelback. And finally, it pays dividends after getting like one hit all year, and he finally gets a home run, a solo dinger. Take that, Rangers. Yeah, baby. Rowdy Tellez, 2-0 Mariners. Let's go, baby. Hell yeah. The Uncle Mo effect is real, baby. Go M's. Polo and Tellez? Did we just win the lottery? Let's go, baby. And let's be honest, Tellez has been the worst player on the team.
Again, defensively, kind of a nightmare, and then offensively, even worse. So it's really awesome to be able to see him produce. I mean, even just getting a single, would be something that Mariner fans would be excited about. But again, if you're going to struggle and be bad and then eventually end up hitting a home run to help us win, that's really going to pay dividends. And that's the reason that you're playing DH or first base. And nice job by Rowdy. Next up is Miles Mastrobuoni. 2-0 count and in play and grounded out to first, 2 away. It's okay, Miles. Next up, second baseman Leo Rivas. I bet that feels so good for Rowdy too. I mean, you got to think if you're like 13, 14 games in and you only have one fucking hit and you're batting like not even 100, like .050, it's an embarrassment, and luckily he's just trying to, keep himself motivated, and I like that. Strike looking back to back there from Jacob deGrom to Leo Rivas, behind in the count 0-2. Curveball low from deGrom to Rivas, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And hopefully Rivas will be a guy that is smart in the box and be a little bit more patient. And again, it's like you don't need to force anything. Like getting hit by a pitch or, causing walks, can really help the team out, especially with bunting on top of that. Any kind of way that we can manufacture guys on base. We've been pretty good at stealing bags this year and moving guys over once we have them on, but we'll see how it ends up going here later tonight with 2 solo jacks. Now, hopefully we don't start fast and then kind of go on a skid, because a couple games ago, we had a Julio with a solo dinger, Cal Raleigh with a solo dinger, and then nothing the rest of the game, and we got kind of obliterated. So that one felt good. Here we go. Outside. Yes, there it is. Rivas with the walk. And sometimes you just know, and certain guys, regardless if they're in the AAA or the farm system, they're going to know how to work it. And I feel that Rivas, just like Reflect and me have talked about, we think that he's going to be better than Bliss. And we hope Bliss has a speedy recovery, even though he's going to be gone 4 to 5 months. But again, I think this is the better player. And sometimes it's next man up mentality, and hopefully it works out. So far, so good. Next up, JP Crawford. 4-seam fastball, high and out of the zone, 1-0 count to JP. Let's go. Anytime we can have a fucking lead against anybody, I don't care if we're playing the White Sox or the first place Rangers, when you're a shitty team, in the box, hitting wise, this is, a dream come true. And again, hopefully this will continue, and you never know. And you never want to talk about sweeping anyone. We've only been able to typically win 1 game in a set. Obviously, winning 2 out of 3 against the Astros is a good start, but the goal should be 2 out of 3 against every opponent, as a goal. And obviously, if you win the first 2, then we can start talking sweep. Fouled off there on a 4-seam fastball. 2 balls and 1 strike to JP Crawford. Go JP. And if you're just tuning in, Jorge Polanco back in the lineup, DHing, solo dinger. Rowdy Tellez, the worst player on the team, solo dinger. And again, getting that batting average up from .050 to he's almost at 100. So that's good. He's at .095, but that's ridiculous, but we'll take it. Let's go. Bottom of the second. 2 outs, 2-0 Mariners, 2-1 count from deGrom to Crawford. And luckily, this is not the same Jacob deGrom, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and I'm happy to see that. Change up. And that one is very close. They're in the zone. Could have been called a strike, but called ball. We'll have to see what kind of makeup calls we end up getting as the game progresses. 3 balls and 1 strike. But definitely deGrom is, you can tell his confidence is a little shaken. And there we go. Another walk. And again, sometimes not swinging when you're a bad team or dropping bunts, that's the way to go. And not only to gain the confidence, but just to get guys on. There we go. I like that. Sometimes, just taking that walk, bunting, being a little bit smart about it. Realizing that the pitcher doesn't got the stuff early on. Next up, center fielder, Julio Rodriguez. And this is probably the guy that needs to learn it the most. Like, hey, you don't need to go for a moonshot at every at-bat swing. Sometimes you got to let the game come to you. We know that you're a superstar type of player, obviously based off the media. You haven't really played like a superstar. You have popularity, but again, popularity isn't going to end up winning us games. You have to produce, and hopefully Julio can make him pay here. And they're having a little bit of a mound visit here. Saying, DeGrom, are you okay? And DeGrom is definitely very shaky early on. And Bryce Miller started to be a little bit shaky, but luckily Bryce didn't give up those early home runs like DeGrom has. Big strike swinging. Behind the count 0-1. Come on, Julio. Be patient, my guy. And another strike swinging. Come on, Julio. I can't wait for the day where Julio can actually be a trusted clutch hitter. But again, that one fouled off. Still behind in the count 0-2. And I say this at every broadcast. When Julio gets in the count 0-2, 90% of the time he gets out. It's either strike three, pop up, ground out. It's very rare that he can end up, creating a walk situation or kind of getting back into the count, going from 0-2 to 2-2 or 3-2 and then finding a way to get on base. But, you never know. I don't know if, any of the torpedo bats are going to help. STL in the building. What's good? And that's strike three on Julio. I mean, a lot of times I wish I was wrong. It's like when you come up with these predictions based on watching players play and you kind of know tendencies, based on the count. And it doesn't even matter who's pitching. You just know what Julio's tendencies are. And again, if he can just kind of turn himself into the mindset of like, hey, we don't need you to be a home run hero ball hitter. We need you to have a mindset of being like Edgar Martinez or Ichiro. Just get on base, and then the home runs will come naturally when it goes right down the middle, and then you smack it for a big home run. But getting singles and doubles is actually going to be, more beneficial to this team than him getting a home run every third or fourth game, or whatever it may be. So tough. We left two stranded, but I like the start. That we're getting. We're getting guys that are being patient at the end of the lineup when Rivas and JP. So they're starting to be, doing the things that guys at the top of the order should be doing, like Julio and obviously Cal. No Victor Robles, no Ryan Bliss, but right now, Rowdy Tellez, solo dinger, right? Awesome. Jorge Polanco in the DH spot, solo dinger, awesome. 2-0 Marin. Let's go. Let's see who's up next here for the Rangers. Top of the third. Next up in the top of the third, back at the top of the order, second baseman 0-for-1 Marcus Semien. Batting second 0-for-0 with a base on ball, shortstop Corey Seager. And batting third, left fielder 1-for-1 Josh Smith. Let's go Mariners. We're sizzling, baby. And I'm great. I'm really happy to see DeGrom struggling. We need that. We're still off that emotional high from Randy Arozarena, right? Grand salami, and then obviously getting a walk to come home to win. And I've actually seen that this season in the MLB 2025 year, where you actually are getting quite a few teams that have bases loaded. They end up getting a walk, and then they end up winning the game. It's not just Mariners. A couple teams have been able to win that way early on in these first 12, 13, 14 games in the season. Shout out to my boy, Luis Fernando. He usually comes in here. I used to work with him at Verizon Business, where we would end up calling business owners in Boston and New York and setting up cable internet and phone there. In play by Semien, flied out to center to Julio, one away. And he ended up sending me a couple photos because he sells a lot of his jerseys on eBay and, flips them and whatnot. And he sent me a photo of a Levante David white stone jersey with a captain patch. And he says, do you have this? And I said, no. And he's going to end up sending it on Monday to me for a gift. It's always cool when you end up having really good friends that go above and beyond. And I could have ended up buying that jersey back in the day, but I decided to go Devin White, not knowing that he would turn into a player not even on the team after his rookie deal. But sometimes the universe has a way to be able to reward you, for your hard work and being a good person. And I'm very stoked to be able to get this jersey. Obviously, we're not in NFL season at the moment, but I definitely will be rocking it once we go into the fall. And I love it that it's the white one too, because white always pops with the jerseys. And we may end up seeing Luis in here at some point. He's always working hard. He lived here in Oregon for years and years and years, and he just recently moved to Texas with his girlfriend. So always a good time when I can get caught up with my guy Luis. Next up is Corey Seager. Seager grounded out towards first base, and there it is. Two away. Ooh, baby, I like the way that this game is going. Simeon flied out to Julio. Seager, little ground out to first. Their star players are struggling. Next up, 1-for-1 left fielder Josh Smith. Let's go Mariners. And if you're just tuning in, Polanco, solo dinger to give us the 1-0 lead. Came out of nowhere. Rowdy Tellez batting .050. Not even batting 100. Worst player on the team, one hit in like 13 games. And then he decides to go, hey, you know what? I'm going to hit a solo dinger as well. And that's how we're up 2-0 Mariners. Let's go. First pitch fouled off on a four-seam fastball. 0-1 count. Splitter. Just outside, fouled off. Behind in the count 0-2. Miller starting to gain confidence now as well. Agreed. And again, he was looking a little shaky early on, but again, getting the confidence with hits and runs and guys on base does wonders for the pitcher's confidence. And again, just knowing that you got that support there. Knuckle curve by Bryce, but a little inside at the knees. Got to be careful there. We don't want to hit anybody. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Miller to Smith. Let's go, Bryce. It's fucking Miller time. And you're not going to see too many knuckle curves out of Bryce, but nice to see him implement that. And there we go. Out number 3. I love it. Let's see who's up next here in the bottom of the 3rd. Let's keep this fucking shit going. Let's go. And it's crazy, how the season is gone. Injuries, the Robles and Bliss, they're both going to be out for months and months and months. Bliss, 4 to 5 months. Realistically, with Robles, probably 3 months. And we've not been very good hitting. We haven't really been good defensively. Our bullpen has not been very good. Like every single category really hasn't been very good. And to be able to get that win when you were down 5-0 in the 8th of the Astros and you come back and win 7-6 with that Randy Arozarena grand slam, and then we had the bases loaded walk-off win where he just ended up throwing the walk, with the ball, and boom, you get that instant run from third to come home. Sometimes you need like a groundbreaking win to get you that Uncle Mo and that momentum and that confidence, and it carries over into the next series, and it's definitely carrying over here to the Texas Rangers. Like we don't even fear them. We never really have in the past, but obviously if we would have gotten swept, going into this game, the mentality might have been a little bit different. Torpedo bats have been sent to Seattle, obviously today. And I know Cal's got one, Randy's got one. Not sure if Rowdy is using one and that's how he hit the homer, or Polo. We'll find out post-game. But so far, so good. Let's see who's up here next for the Mariners. In the bottom of the 3rd, DHing with a home run already. You're the fucking man. Best player on our team in 2025. Way to go from 0 to hero in 1 year. Jorge Polanco. Batting second, 0-for-1 with a K. Catcher, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Has been a little bit of a disappointment, so far in the box. But if you have noticed, a lot of the times when we watch Cal hit, he's batting from the right side because we're going against left-handed pitching, and that's his weak side. So hopefully, right side, left side, we can figure it out. But again, we have to make sure we call a spade a spade. He hasn't played up to his potential, especially with the extension that we gave him. But hopefully, he'll get better as the warmer weather turns up. And batting third, left fielder, our savior, Randy Arozarena. First pitch low to Polo outside of the zone in a changeup. 89 miles an hour, 1-0 count from DeGrom to Polo. Let's make him fucking pay. Let's go. We're at 2:98 to go. Grounded out to the pitcher, one away. That's all right. I'll take that. Can't get a home run at every at-bat. Next up is Big Dumper 0 for 1 with a K, Cal Raleigh. Come on, Cal. We're not going to give anybody a free pass, even if we really like these guys, Cal and Julio and Logan Gilbert and George Kirby when he comes back. And it kind of sounds like Brash and Kirby might be coming back around the same time, around the beginning of May. But it looks like Troy Taylor might end up playing today for the first time this season. And Raleigh popped up out to third base, and that is 2 away. But I would love to be able to see Troy Taylor in 10 because obviously besides Gabe Spire, not a lot of guys that we can really fully trust. Next up, for the Mariners here in the bottom of the third with 2 outs, left with Randy Arozarena. Go, Randy! First pitch is outside of the four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour from DeGrom, 1-0 count. Takes a strike looking, 1 ball and 1 strike. Pitch is crushed, foul ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs from DeGrom to Randy Arozarena. Come on, baby. Yes, he is. Yeah, that's been on social media as well. A salute to Ken Griffey Jr. and Randy Johnson for having the passion for photography. And for Ken Griffey Jr., it's something that he kind of acquired, a love for after baseball. Randy Johnson, majored in it at USC back when he was in college. But for Randy, it's always been a thing, that he had a passion for. And he knew as soon as he retired, boom, I'm going to go into photography. And it's cool to be able to see, 2 former Mariners, be able to do these passions, and not only for sporting events, but I know Randy Johnson, will also do like concerts, like Metallica, things of that nature. So you never know when you might see a Ken Griffey Jr. photo or Randy Johnson photo that is trademarked one day. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. He's battling here. Count now is full. DeGrom on the mound, and Randy Arozarena in the box. Let's go, baby. And that's a walk. Hell yeah. See, and again, hopefully we can end up dropping down a bunt. Josh Smith dropped a bunt down. Pitcher tried to grab it barehanded. They were safe at first and second. So the next time we end up having a guy at first, if we're not getting a walk, dropping a bunt down with guys like Mastroboni, Rivas, Crawford, and again, it would be really cool if Julio could get past the ego, and even if Julio could drop down the bunt, because they wouldn't assume that he would do it. But I know that he's got the home run power, but he does strike out a lot and pop up and ground out. But again, sometimes you got to go outside of your norm if you want to be a complete baseball player. And I truly believe if Julio practiced bunting, that could be a big thing for him. But again, he's that guy that the ego and hey, I'm popular, and it's like you're not going to really see a player like that, drop down the bunt. But it would be cool to see if that ever evolves into his career. But Mastroboni, Rivas, Crawford, those guys will do it, and hopefully we can make them pay. Now, next up will be Luke Raley. Takes a strike looking. 0-1 count. Four-seam fastball. Big swing and a miss behind the count, 0-2. Come on, Luke. And another guy that hasn't really been able to get going yet either is Luke Raley. Now, one thing I really admire about Luke is that he always runs hard to first, no matter what the situation is. Julio, take notes, but hopefully Luke can nuke the hell out of a ball. Pitches low and into the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes with that slider. But again, it's all about effort. I love guys that show the passion, but they have the effort. And that's definitely Luke Raley. This right here. Oh, running hard, baby. Bottom of the third, 2 outs, 1 ball, 2 strikes. DeGrom to Nuke Rayleigh. 4-seam fastball, fouled off. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Let's go Mariners. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 20 within the first hour, hour and a half. We're just approaching the 1 hour mark. So I'm not sure what we're at likewise right now, but hopefully we're getting close to 20. And obviously we'll be shooting for 100 new donos on every single stream. Pitch is low and in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Luke Rayleigh. If Luke can actually get a walk out of this at some point, struck out swinging. I was just going to say, if he could battle it out a little bit longer, maybe we could get something here. And that is the end of the 3rd inning. Luke still waiting for his Rowdy Tellez moment. And when Luke ends up, going yard, you'll know it. It'll probably be like a 2nd decker or 3rd decker. It's eating at him. You can tell. But at that particular at-bat, we'll have to settle for nothing. And let's go to the top of the 4th with a 2-0 lead. Bay. Let's see who's up next here for the Rangers. Next up for the Rangers, 0 for 1, right fielder Adolis Garcia. Batting second, 0 for 0 with a base on ball, DHing Jock Peterson. It ain't Jocktober just yet, but he's definitely made his rounds around the league. And batting third, 0 for 1, third baseman Josh Young. Let's go Mariners. Well, the amount of people that we have in the room, we're behind the 8 ball. We got 24 people in the room. We should be getting close to that 20 number rather than the 10 number. So if you are in the room and haven't smashed that like button yet, do your boy a solid. Like, it helps us get into the algorithm, and then we can get more people in the stream to enjoy the game. So now we're at, 14? We need 6 more to 20. There we go. Appreciate the people that are in the room. And I know sometimes when you end up watching a stream and you're watching a game, you kind of lose a little focus. But again, I appreciate that. Now we only need 4 more, and we got 8 people in the room that haven't done it yet. So if half of the people in the room do it, boom, we're already there. Let's go. Let's go Mariners. Oh, baby. Yes, sir. That's a big win. Adolis Garcia 0 for 1 in the box, and it's Miller time. Bryce Miller on the mound, and looked shaky, early on, had bases loaded, and thankfully we didn't give up 1, 2, 3 runs, because obviously at that point maybe we're down a run, and maybe we don't end up getting those home runs by, Jorge Polanco and Rowdy Tellez. Everything is momentum. And, a lot of baseball is not just physical, it's mental. And sometimes when you get your stuff, that is a little shaky and you dig yourself into a bad hole, sometimes it's hard to climb out. But so far, so good here for the Mariners. Sinker there, high and tight inside. 1 ball and 1 strike from Miller to Garcia. Let's go, Bryce. 4-seam fastball, high and tight again. 2 balls and 1 strike to Adolis Garcia. Let's go. Yeah, well, we're close though, Captain. We're 5-8. So it's not. I mean, the Braves will find a way. Their team is too talented, but again, a lot of things kind of compounding. Poor pitching. Not having your best players available. Jerks and Profar getting busted for drugs and PEDs. So a lot of it can be emotional too. Because they were really, hoping that Profar was going to be the all-star player to, kind of lead off and set the tone. And then all of a sudden, early in the season, within the first couple games, goodbye. So again, they have to get past that emotional distress, and then, they should be able to have an above 500 record, sooner than later. And that is a walk to Garcia. Britt in the building. Miss you. And Garcia with the walk. Next up, DHing for the Rangers, 0 for 0 with a base on ball, Jock Peterson. That one fouled off into the zone. 0-1 count from Bryce Miller to Jock Peterson. Top of the fourth, 2-0 Mariners. Chief with Chief in the building. What's good? Britt in the building. What's good? Four-seam fastball. Out of the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike. Splitter in the zone, fouled off. 1 ball and 2 strikes for Bryce Miller to Jock Peterson. Yeah, everything is good. There isn't any issues. Obviously I have the permission. And again, we're going to be going through kind of a rotation of 7 different tracks. And there's another like 7 or 8 that don't really fit the stream and whatnot. And again, it's going to be used on the channel moving forward, probably for the rest of my life, if I'm being honest. So, and anything new that he ends up creating and he sends me a file, then we can implement that as well, as long as it's not too big. I think it's like 30 megabytes or 60 megabytes. I can't remember the number. Maybe it's 30, but it can't be any bigger than that. So once all his masters are done, it's just nice to be able to have something rather than the just default things that we were using in the past. Which I don't really mind some of the default sounds that we use. They weren't like bad. Like we had this one. This one is called Daydreaming. This one kind of came with the program. And then we had the night driving one, this one. And that is Jock Peterson striking out. 1 away. And then we have, obviously, the NASCAR stream where we end up doing a little rock. So this is really the only rock one that I have. And then the one that I normally would use on every single stream, this one, the Feeding the Ducks. Strike looking there to Josh Young, but it's just nice to be able to, support my friend. And again, there's not a lot of people that have dreams and goals, and act on them. Some people will have the thought of doing something, but how many people actually follow through? And his journey has been, a pretty wild one. We used to party pretty heavy together. We used to work together. We used to hang out a lot. And, we both got to a point where we, partied too much, got overweight. And now we both, walk with our dogs. We've lost a lot of weight. Both of us have lost, close to 100 pounds each. And, again, life is, getting better, I think, for the both of us. So, and Young singled, and he is safe. Damn it. And that is 2-1 Mariners. Damn it. Come on, Bryce. Yeah, Dallas Garcia, he knew what was going on right there. Josh Young says, hey, I'm going to get that. You try to jam me. Not so fast. And next up, 0-for-1, Jake Berger. Strike looking there, 0-1 count. And again, this Ranger team is in first place for a reason. So again, thank God we ended up getting the homer by Polanco and the homer by Tellez to give us the early lead. Makes a strike looking on knuckle curve. On the count 0-2. Sweeper outside, way outside. Come on, Bryce. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. You haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Every like matters if we can get to that 20 number and hit that algorithm. And then obviously if the games get close at the end, we'll get a boost. And almost every game with the Mariners this season has been close, and we typically have been getting a boost on most of them. So, knuckle curve. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Miller to Berger. We're at 2:98 to go. Help your boy out if you can. I got bills to pay. It's been really light, these last 3 months, 4 months, and especially this month. So anything that can be done will help, so that way I can continue to do this. Pay the basic internet bill, pay my streaming fee for this program. I don't need to be rich. I just need to be able to continue to do the dream. Miller on the mound, Berger in the box. Fouls that one off. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Miller to Berger. Splitter outside. And Young stole second. Top of the fourth, 2-1 Mariners. Come on, Seattle. And a strike swinging. Boom! There we go. Berger struck out. I like that. And Berger is one of those guys, a little bit thicker. You know, he can damage you with singles and doubles and an occasional homer, you know, on his previous teams. But we'll see how he fits in with Texas this season. 2 away. Next up, catcher Jonah Heim. 0 for 1. Make it 0 for 2. Pitches outside on a knuckle curve, 1-0 count. Crazy that Bryce is implementing the knuckle curve as often as he is so far early in the matchup. Appreciate that. Every dollar counts. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks. Little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. We're at 5, 95 to go. Takes a strike looking there. 1 ball and 1 strike with that changeup. Cutter inside, almost hits him. 2 balls and 1 strike from Miller to Jonah Heim. Let me know what you want to do photo-wise, and I gotcha. I know you're going to be watching the Lakers and whatnot in a moment. But I appreciate you. Yeah, well, it's not good for Derek Carr, but it's good for Saints fans because they don't like him. But then the thing is, if they draft Shedeur Sanders, you know, I'm not really sure. I mean, it will probably be one of those things where if they drafted Shedeur, you know, that they would feel like it would be a good fit, you know, based on the community. You know, they like him and whatnot, but I just don't know if he would be good enough, you know, to be able to be the guy long term. I mean, it might be a short term answer, you know, but I'm not sure if I would want to, you know. And obviously, if you look at their quarterback room, it's not the greatest, but we will see. But if Carr doesn't play, I don't think it's going to hurt any Saints fans' opinions. You know, they don't like him. You know, it's not a good fit based on his skill set. You know, it worked out when he was on the Raiders with Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs, but there isn't a Saints fan that likes him. And, you know, 2-2 count here from Miller to Heim. Top of the fourth, 2-1 Mariners. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Bryce Miller to Jonah Heim. Knuckle curve fouled off. 4-seam fastball fouled off. Still 2-2. You know, but they have a lot of holes that they still need to fill. But again, at least the Saints fan base would be excited if Shedeur was there, even if he doesn't pan out. You know, because, you know, just the excitement factor of someone that's not Carr, you know, but they still have, you know, some holes on the line and on the defense and whatnot, but, you know, they still have some guys that can play, like AK-41 Alvin Kamara and, you know, Olave and a few others. Taysom Hill crushes that one foul on a 4-seam fastball. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Miller to Heim. Yeah, we're just right around the corner. Yeah, and Rattler's kind of shitty too, though. He's not good enough to be the starter either, you know. And again, people would rather go with someone else, even if they're shittier, than, you know. But again, Carr did have a good, you know, relationship with like Rashid Shaheed going with the deep ball, you know, and they had a little connection there. But it's all about consistency, you know. And if the fan base is against you, you know, it's going to be hard to be able to win games when you know your fan base isn't even cheering for you. They're like kind of cheering for you to fuck up or you know, not be the guy. You know, so that way they can get someone else in there. But once they got their wish and Rattler came in, he's ass. He's not good either. So, you know, Carr's better than Rattler. You know, but again, if you don't like either one, then, you know, maybe, you know, getting Shedeur will be good for them. I mean, we'll see. I still think that the Bucks and Falcons will be better, but, you know, we'll see where it goes. Well, Michael Thomas has been hurt, but he got made by Drew Brees. And if you don't have Drew Brees throwing to you, there it is. Some guys are going to be able to survive on their own, and go on to any team and succeed, and other guys are made by someone else. And sometimes you get exposed. And, people wanted to say, oh, he's slant boy. He was more than just slants. He could do a lot of different routes, but definitely Drew Brees made him. And then, the injuries piled up, and he hasn't been able to be really healthy since. And it mentally fucked him, and he wasn't able to mentally be the same guy. And then mentally, you're not there. Physically, you're not there. And it's game over. And kind of a damn shame because, for a couple seasons, he was like a top 5 receiver. So let's go to the bottom of the 4th inning with a 2-1 lead. Let's see who's up next here for the Mariners. I mean, I always like the matchups and the battles that we had. Me being a Buccaneer fan and whatnot, but the reality is you're not on the same level as like a Mike Evans or a Chris Godwin. For a couple years he was, but it's all about consistency. And the NFL is, what have you done for me lately? They don't give a fuck what you did last year or what you did last game. It's like, what are you doing right now? And that's just the way that it is. 1 for 1 with a run and an RBI solo dinger, Rowdy Tellez. Batting second, third baseman, the former Cub, Miles Mastrobuoni. And batting third, second baseman, filling in for Ryan Bliss, Leo Rivas. Let's go, Mariners. Odin in the building. What's good? Yeah, WrestleMania is going to be badass. Yeah, they've updated it. If you follow WrestleOps, that's the best wrestling. I feel like there's not a lot that I will follow because some of them are garbage, and whatnot. But I like WrestleOps. I think WrestleOps is the best one on Twitter/X. So anytime they end up, posting a card or posting information, it's trustworthy. A lot of the other ones are very sus. So DeGrom to Tellez. Takes a strike looking. 1 ball and 2 strikes from DeGrom to Rowdy Tellez. It's cool that you wrote it out. I appreciate that. It shows that you care and that you love wrestling. I had an entrance that I was going to send you that was on one of the socials where it had Vader and Earthquake as a tag team coming out. It's just like a short, like backstage, 15-second clip, little grounder to first. There we go, 1 away. I always like being able to see the bigger guys from back in the day, and then obviously there's not a lot of Vader and Earthquake together. Usually it was like Earthquake and Typhoon, the natural disasters and whatnot, so. Yeah. Well, again, and a lot of these guys, came from places where they were good, like, Ohio State, right? And Ohio State knows how to be able to develop guys. Olave, Michael Thomas, Ezekiel Elliott. But sometimes, you start strong, but then you kind of fade, And so, we got to be able to see if Ohio State can have guys on the offensive side that can, have a long career rather than just like the defensive guys like, like Bosa Bros and whatnot. Seems like the defensive guys have been able to kind of have longer, more sustainable careers. But every once in a while, you'll get an offensive guy from Ohio State that'll fall out, right? And especially in this upcoming draft, there's a few guys, right? And then also in the near future, once they're available to go to the draft. Bottom of the 4th, 2-1 Mariners. DeGrom on the mound, Mastrobuoni in the box. 2 balls and 2 strikes with back-to-back sliders. 2-2 count. No, Dak is overrated. I feel like Dak is a pretty decent player stat-wise. But again, when it comes down to the big moments, like if he makes the playoffs, he nuts up and you can't trust him. And again, offensive line, the coaching, the offensive coordinator, the defense, it's never been there. It's always just been pieces. Like you can't have 3 good pieces on offense with him and CD and then have a couple pieces on defense with like DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons and think that's good enough. I've never seen a team that's got 11 on 11, and you only have like 3 guys on one side, 3 on the other, and think that you're going to be able to beat somebody in the playoffs, and make a deep run. There's a reason why the Cowboys have the biggest drought, big swing and a miss, 2 away from Master Boney. But there's the reason that the Cowboys have the biggest drought out of any NFC team to make the NFC Championship game, because they got the shittiest owner in the NFL that just cares about profiting in jersey sales and beer sales. They're not willing to put a team together enough, and they're delusional, thinking that they're going to get Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, and those guys. The reason why they were able to bring Leon Lennon and Dion and having all those guys, Ken Norton, was not only having Jimmy Johnson and then Barry Switzer, but the culture was different. The players were different, and you don't have Hall of Fame players anymore. And the culture is different as well. So that's why a lot of Cowboy fans, are living in the past, hoping that they'll recreate what they saw in the 90s. But guess what? It's not going to happen until Jerry passes away. But if that happens, the Suns will do the same thing that he did. They literally need to sell the team to someone else. And the chances of that happening is like 0. So you're probably going to see the Cowboys not be very good, or, every once in a while they may end up being like a 9-8 team, or maybe one year they go 12-5, but they'll be like that overrated 12-5 team, kind of like when we saw with the Vikings being like, 14-3 and getting obliterated in the playoffs. You can be kind of a fugazi, good record team and get obliterated in the first round. So, and there will be playoff appearances, and they may end up winning a game, every 5 to 10 years, but they're definitely nowhere near, being where they need to be. Now, if Dak would go to another team that actually had stability, if Dak went to like the 49ers, you might be able to get a little bit more out of him. But still, he kind of has this problem where, he's been getting better in certain statistics, like completion percentage, red zone, touchdown to interception ratio, and things of that nature. But again, when it comes to the big moments, he can't do it. And again, he's a name, but to me, I think Tony Romo would be, if Tony Romo was playing today, I would rather have him than Dak, if that says anything. And Tony Romo was streaky, but better attitude, and was able to get his players going more, in my opinion. Like the Romo-Dez era was better than what we have now. CeeDee Lamb is great, but the Romo-Dez era with Witten was better. Facts. Bottom of the 4th, 2-1 Mariners. Rivas stole second. There we go. I like that, baby. Stormbum in the building. What's good? But again, if Dak ended up going to a team that had, good, coaching, like if Dak went to the Lions, Dak was on the Niners, Dak was on the Buccaneers, if Dak was, on Kansas City or something of that nature, where you ended up having, good ownership, good GM, good, vibe and culture, yeah, you would probably get a little bit more out of Dak, and Dak could maybe make, an NFC Championship game, but can he win it? That's the thing. And, he's kind of turnover prone. Not very trustworthy, in my opinion. Still a good, maybe top 12 quarterback, but I wouldn't want him on my team. I'd rather have Baker Mayfield or someone else. So. Next up is J.P. Crawford. And I think Dak does have a skill set. I mean, it's not like Dak can't throw for 30, 40 touchdowns here or there, but really when it comes down to it, can you trust a guy like him? And again, but they also haven't put the pieces together for him to be more trustworthy. Line isn't there. They don't have 3, Hall of Fame linemen anymore. The Zeke in the prime is no longer there. Running backs, defense isn't there. So it's again, it's a team concept, and they only have like a couple positions that are good, and then all the rest are very average or below average, or choke when the big moments count. 2 balls and 2 strikes from DeGrom to Crawford. There we go, baby. Crawford single to left. Rivas scored. 3-1 Mariners. My guys. And at the bottom of the end of the order, with Rivas and Crawford, I think we found what we needed. Let's go. Right over the third baseman's head. Look at Rivas run. Beautiful. And Leo is going to be better than Bliss. And sometimes you don't want guys to get hurt, but when a guy does get hurt, Victor Robles and Ryan Bliss. Robles is legit. Bliss is a guy that should probably be in AAA. But sometimes when a guy gets hurt, it's next man up, and that next man up ends up taking the job, and then you never get your job back. And nice job by Rivas. He's got the speed, he's got the intelligence, he's fast, he's a good teammate. And just like that, Rivas and Crawford in the 8-9 hole, we finally have confidence at the bottom end of the order. Let's go. Yeah, but also with Romo, he didn't really have all the pieces either, to be able to make the deep run. They never really had the proper coaching, the proper coordinators, the proper defense, But again, if you ask most people that watch football, like if you could have Romo playing today and not on CBS, or have Dak, who would you want? And I think most people would say Romo. They've already seen what Dak can't do, And again, Romo can extend plays more, and he was more exciting to watch. And he was very underrated at the time because there were so many other quarterbacks that were bigger names that were playing at the same time. You had the Ben Roethlisbergers, you had the Phillip Rivers, you had the Brady's, you had the Mannings. So he kind of got shuffled, into like mid, territory. Even though that, at some points that he was better than just like, top 15 quarterback, but he was kind of perceived that way. There was games where Romo played like a top 5, top 10 quarterback. At times, But again, I feel like he was more trustworthy and more exciting to watch. But again, neither quarterback really has had enough to make the run. They, in that era, they didn't have enough either. Bottom of the fourth, 3-1 Mariners, DeGrom on the mound, Julio in the box. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Julio. That one fouled off. Let's go, J-Rod. We got to 20. There we go. Oh, Jaden is not going to slump in his second year. They're going to have more film on him. And so some of the numbers, possibly could be a little bit lower. But that guy is not like most. His mom is like, making sure that, none of these like rappers or, gold diggers are trying to get into his head and his money. And, again, he's got the good people around him. He's mature. He's not going to be just wiling out at the clubs and, he's not going to be, impregnating, 5 girls with 10 different babies and being like a Tyreek. The guy's got a good head on his shoulders. And Jaden Daniels, it wouldn't surprise me, out of all the quarterbacks that are in the NFL, if he ends up being like, a Hall of Fame kind of guy or pretty damn close. Like, this guy is not like a one-hit wonder to me. To me, he's going to end up being up there with Jalen Hurts and all of the other top guys and Burrow. And, if you're looking at all the really good quarterbacks, Jaden is already top 10. And now it's just like, can you be top 5 and consistently be top 5 and then eventually be top 3? And then down the road, maybe even competing for being the best guy in the NFL at one point, and I think that could be possible. And I never would say that if I didn't believe it. The guy is very, very special. And it's not just based on how he can run and extend plays and he can throw. I feel the best part about him is up here, and the maturity, and being a good teammate. And again, that goes, and he's smart, and again, he's going to be a very, very solid player for a long, long time. And Julio pops that one foul. And Julio pops up, and that is out. Stays in play, but at least we ended up getting, obviously another run for insurance. The Mariners look like we've really turned a corner after, being down 5-0, for 8 innings, and then coming back and winning that game 7-6. And I like what I'm seeing out of Rivas and Crawford, and I feel like they have kind of re-energized each other there at the end. End of the 4th inning, 3-1 Mariners. Great job so far. Let's see who's up next year for the Rangers. Next up for the Rangers, 0 for 1 with a K, center fielder Leody Taveras. Batting second, 0 for 2, second baseman Marcus Semien. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a base on ball, shortstop Corey Seager. Let's go Mariners. Yeah, I mean, they had one of the best defensive lines for years and years and years, but again, they had to kind of blow up the whole Chase Young and Deron Payne, experiment, right? But Bobby Wagner is very underrated, Hall of Fame, still playing at a very high level. And again, their defense was a little suspect last year, but it got hot at the right time. And they ended up going a lot farther, for a rookie quarterback, rookie coach, with a veteran like Bobby Wagner to make it to the NFC Championship game. That just doesn't fucking happen. So, yes, they still need more pieces on the O-line and the defense. But if you're talking about overachieving to the fullest, they did. And the only thing that they could have done further is made the Super Bowl and lost. They weren't going to win it all. But again, to be able to have Quinn, Daniels, Bobby Wagner, and then they started coming together, as a unit and believing in each other. That's not something that typically happens in year one of a coach and year one of a stud quarterback. And they were lucky that they had Bobby Wagner on that side of the ball, because if they didn't, they probably wouldn't have made it to that point. So, I watched like every single Washington game. So. We're at 5, 95 to go. Let's get it. Which is outside with the cutter back to back. 2 balls and no strikes from Miller to Tavares. Let's go, Bryce. The funny thing is, though, in fantasy, just because C.J. Stroud didn't do good last year, he'll probably be a top 5 quarterback this year. So just because, we end up getting burnt, by guys that screwed us over or didn't, live up to the potential and had like a sophomore slump, doesn't mean that he's going to be that same player that he was last year. So, especially when you have a top 10 quarterback like C.J. Stroud. I mean, it is possible that he could end up having a similar type of fantasy season like last year, or it could be more like his rookie year, or maybe even better. That's why the NFL, you got to be able to see who you have in free agency, who you have in drafting, who are your coaches, who are your play callers, because that definitely affects the bottom line, of an elite quarterback. And having the injuries to Diggs and Tank Dell and Nico Collins and and Joe Mixon and not that definitely hindered some of the ability for CJ. But some of it was on CJ as well, because they had tape on him and he just wasn't as accurate or as explosive as year one. Crushed back all the way to the wall. There we go, 1 away. Tavares with the pop up into right. 1 away. Next up, second baseman Marcus Semien, 0 for 2. Let's make it 0 for 3. And I only say that just because, O-line is one of the worst in football. So we'll have to see in the draft if they, try to fix it. So, but, I know based on, fantasy experience too. Sometimes guys that have a bad year, just like with running backs, just because a running back had a good year one year, or gets on like the Madden cover, doesn't mean that they're going to be good the following year. If anything, it almost ends up being a curse, and they might end up tearing an ACL or having an off year. So, sometimes it's hard to gauge if someone's going to be, good. Like, what are the chances of Burrow and Chase being the top quarterback and wide receiver again? Not likely. They could still be top 5, but they may not be as good as they were last year in a record-breaking year with no D. So. We'll see. It'll be very interesting. Top of the 5th, 3-1 Mariners. That one fouled off. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Bryce Miller to Marcus Semien. Stabler and Olivia, I love it. Two balls and 2 strikes after that sinker was fouled off. Go Bryce. 9 more likes to 30. Let's get there. Hopefully we can get some of the old school heavy hitters back, or we can end up getting some new ones. We need it. It's a little concerning here in 2025, and I know the economy isn't in the greatest position, but we definitely need an uptick in support. Knuckle curve fouled off. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pitch is outside in that sinker. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. It's like, when you go from having like 10 heavy hitters to just like a couple or none, it's very concerning. I've never changed. I've never been fake. I've always been genuine and real. And I know some people are going to come and go, but I'm never going to stop being who I am, and hopefully, people realize that, and we can get people to, support on the likes and the subs and the views and the donos, and we can hopefully get some heavy hitters coming back or some new heavy hitters being created. I mean, I fucking deserve it. I'm a grinder. There's not very many people that are going to be working 7 days a week. Next year will be my 14th year, 10th year on YouTube. Popped up. We got a great community here. 2 away. But the OGs that, have stayed loyal and that have supported, you know what you mean to me. You mean everything. Next up, 0 for 1 with a base on ball, shortstop Corey Seager. 4-seam fastball, fouled off, a 1 count. Knuckle curve, fouled off, behind the count 0-2. And I always keep it 100 with everyone. I never over-exaggerate. I always, I'm 100 no matter what. I'm always genuine. I'm always honest. When things are good, you'll know it. When things are not so good, you'll know it, 4-seam fastball, outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Change up, outside, count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, but it's, and I get it. We've had some bad luck, with some people too. Passing away, Nate the Great, miss him. He would still be on the channel all the time, and then other people that used to help out, that, either lost their job or, finances changed or their opinions changed of the channel or whatever, and, it definitely hurts, but again, I can't do anything, on that regard. I can just work hard every day and be true to myself and know that, good things will end up happening for us as long as I keep working hard. So popped up, and that is out number 3. Let's go to the bottom of the 5th inning, 3-1 Mariners. But we still end up having a few, of the OGs that are still here, and what you guys mean to me. And again, it is a little sad, to see some of the people that, supported, and some people are going to come and go, but I feel that with all of the fakeness that's out on the internet and on social media, I'm one of the rare, ones that if you watched me, today and you go back and you watch me, 10 years ago, 14 years ago, I'm the same guy. And you can't say that for a lot of YouTubers and a lot of streamers. A lot of people change when the money changes, and, we've never changed. So it almost feels like me being a good person and being honest and loyal and genuine has hurt me, instead of being fake and being someone that I'm not. But I'm always going to stay true to myself. I'd rather be genuine and real and struggle a little bit than be fake and be rich. So let's see who's up next here for the Mariners. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 2 with a run and an RBI, solo dinger, Jorge Polanco. Batting second, big dumper, catcher Cal Raleigh. Batting third, left fielder Randy Arozarena. And I don't have any, regrets, with any of the, individuals that don't show up on a regular basis. Anyone that ever donated heavy to me back in the day, depending on what it was, I always tried to give back when I could, with Mitchell and S jerseys or, things of that nature. So I don't feel like I ever did anybody dirty. I don't feel like I ever was not appreciative. I always said thank you. I would always reach out to people after the streams. I would always give back. So it's not necessarily I feel like a me thing. It's it's more of a them thing. And hopefully we'll get some of those people to come through again. Even if it's not on a regular basis, but they're missed here, not just by me, but by others in the room. Bottom of the fifth, 3-1 Mariners. Now we got Church in the game on the mound, Polo in the box, slider outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. And I wish I could do, more giveaways and give back and whatnot, but if I'm not getting enough to even, do the basic stuff on my end, it's hard to be able to go above and beyond when I don't have the capability to do so. Polo single to center. There we go. Nice job, Polo. Yes, sir. Next up is big dumper, Cal Raleigh. But Louise said, he does a lot of jerseys and stuff that he sells on eBay, and I think that he's going to end up doing some kind of giveaway here on the channel when he comes through, where we'll have to figure out, someone, whatever it is, like a $5 or $10 dono to get into the raffle, and then I draw a name, and then that person ends up getting, like an NFL jersey or something, of that nature. So something like that, and it's nice to be able to have friends that, know the person that I am and that is willing to help and whatnot. So pitch on the corner in there for a ball close to that strike zone, 2 balls and 1 strike. On the corner there, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cole in the building, what's good? And that's strike 3 on Cal Raleigh. Nice pitch there. 1 away. Next up is Randy Arozarena. Hard hit. Throw to second. Double play. Got him. Nice double play there by the Rangers. End of the 5th inning. Let's go to the top of the 6th. See who's up next here for the Rangers. Next up for the Rangers, left fielder Josh Smith, 1 for 2. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a run and a base on ball, right fielder Adolis Garcia. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a base on ball and K, DHing Jock Peterson. Let's go Mariners. 3-1 lead, baby. I love that. Sorry to hear that, my guy. Keep sending me messages, and obviously we always keep in touch with each other no matter what. So I'll have to watch the rewind and replay of SmackDown in Seattle. Obviously, there's quite a few people that ended up going to that event, and I hope that you feel better. And I'll message you, obviously, later on, either today, tomorrow, and check up on you. We got Thornton coming in, and hopefully he doesn't fuck it all up here. The bullpen has been shaky, to say the very least. But I like the way that we're playing here today. We'd love to be able to see Troy Taylor today. And Taylor is due back. Estimated date back is today. So, and then Gott and Dollard, obviously in about 4 days. Brash and Kirby on my birthday, May 2nd. So, still got a ways to go before we get a lot of our guys healthy. And Robles out for 3 months, Bliss out for 4 or 5 months. So, those guys we can't really worry about in the time being. But to be able to get some guys from the pen, as well as a starter, as well as George Kirby when he's healthy, he's a top 10, top 15 pitcher overall. And we've been missing him. Ball is low and into the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Thornton to Smith. Smith in the box. Trent Thornton on the mound. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Thornton to Smith. Sarah with $1. Every dollar counts. It really does. Stacks on stacks. Racks on racks. Little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. More than others have been doing. So, you just got to be able to Smith with a double to left. Good hit there. Let me know what you want to do for a photo. But it's hard to be able to, get stuff paid, when you're doing 50 or 100 or over that, and then you're, looking at like 20 or less. And you got to think YouTube and Google, they take their cut. So it's like, I need to really, maximize what I get because, they're taking a portion out. We definitely need to hopefully get to a point where we can get higher than that. I can't pay bills, and if I have an emergency and I got to take Paisley to the vet, I have to borrow money. It's like if I have $300 vet bill, what happens if I make just that or a little bit more than that in like 3 weeks to a month of work? I'm fucked. So, we definitely need things to change for the better here. Cole with $1. Appreciate that. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks with a little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. And again, people don't realize unless you are here every day and realize what's going on. Some days are good, but I don't know anyone on planet Earth that could survive off $300 for a month or less or 4, most people have to, be getting quite a bit more than that. They're getting 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 a month. But you tell me if you think that you could survive a couple $100 a month. I highly doubt it. Strike looking from Thornton to Peterson for 1 count. DP, baby, double play there. I like that. I got you. I got you. Next up is Josh Young. 1 for 2 with an RBI. Uh-oh, Young, back, see ya! Oh, wow, and just like that, now the game is tied, 3-3, holy hell. Wow, way to get back into the game, Josh Young, 3-3 matchup, and again, we're getting production on both sides early. A lot of times for the Mariners, we don't get anything going until the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning. This could really go down to the wire. Yeah, they're the best team in the AL West. By a lot. Yeah, huge blow there. Next up is Jake Berger. Single to left. Golly. Stop the bleeding. Thornton, you stink, bro. We should have kept Bryce Miller in there. That's what I'm saying. When you get a guy that's been pitching pretty good, and then you bring in a guy like this, he stinks. Every time he gets into the game, he gives up a fucking home run. You're terrible. You should not be on the team. You suck. He's ass. It's like out of 3 out of the 4 games that he's come in, he's given up a home run that has potentially made us lose or get close to losing. Terrible. Like, Dan Wilson needs to be a better manager. Like, stop being goddamn Scott Service. Realize when the guy stinks. Again, you've been sending Emerson Hancock down, right? Obviously, Luis F. Castillo, F for failure. You sent him down. And you sent Sauce down. Thornton is just like those guys. He stinks. Like, why do we keep playing this guy? Like, wake up. Like, I wish we could just fucking play Gabe Spire more, and again, it shows you how bad we need Troy Taylor into the lineup. The guys that we have, they fucking suck. Bullpen stinks. And again, it's like you work so hard to get a lead, and then you see it evaporate in a matter of a couple minutes, after working hard for like an hour, 2 hours to be able to find a way. And it's poof, gone. Just like that. Terrible. It's ass. He's terrible. Cut his ass. He's been terrible. Three big home runs out of 4 opportunities in the pen. I mean, how many times are you going to keep giving the motherfucker a chance? Like, he ain't it. Like, Dan, you're like Scott Service 2.0. Like, wake up, bro. You're not very good at managing this team. Hopefully we can find a way to win this game, especially with all the production that we had. Can't let it slip by, especially when you got a team this good. I mean, we've been sending a lot of guys down, but you got to be able to recognize, who's got the stuff and who doesn't. And I think Thornton has given up the most home runs out of any guy in the pen. Like, you want to keep doing that? And how many times do you have to put him in? Like 10 games in a row, he gives up a home run, and then you finally learn, oh, he kind of sucks. Maybe we shouldn't put him in. Jesus Christ. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 6th, and hopefully we can make up what we earned. Should have just kept Bryce Miller in there. And again, even if the pitch count is high, I would rather have Bryce give up the home run late than going into someone that stinks like Thornton and have him fuck the game up for us like that. Next up is Luke Rayleigh. Go, Luke. We need a fucking nuke. Go, baby. Bring that hustle. 1 ball and 1 strike from Milner to Rayleigh. Rayleigh? in play and throw to first. Nice hustle, but out, one away. Always like your hustle, Luke. Next up for the Mariners, first baseman 1 for 2 with a solo jack, Rowdy Tellez. Come on, Mariners. Thornton definitely deserves to go down to AAA, period. I'm just ready for them to start bringing guys up from the farm. I don't care. Single A, high A, double A, triple A. I mean, it can't get any worse than what we're already doing. You know, might as well give some of these young guys a chance. Cole Young, Cole Emerson, Harry Ford, Bellman Celestin, Durangelo. Who cares? I don't care where they're at. Bring them up. Because the guys that we got, they're fucking terrible. Better than Deshaun Watson. Tellez, 2 away. He takes a strike 3 and he just stands there. Next up, third baseman Miles Mastrobuoni. Sweeper with a strike looking, 0-1 count. You got to remember, when he was on the Browns, they, had something cooking. He didn't do good on your team because you didn't have enough pieces, on the team and the right coaching and the right product. So just because one guy succeeds in one place doesn't mean he's going to succeed somewhere else. You have to have, and it's not like the Browns culture is better than the Colts, but again, both teams are nowhere near where they need to be. And really the defense with Myles Garrett, was kind of the saving grace. And then, Flacco was able to do enough to be able to make the offense work. But with the Colts, you had a lot of issues, in that building. So he actually will have a better chance to succeed over there in Cleveland again than if he were to stay on your team on the Colts. So that's the truth. You got to have good culture in the building. And Browns culture isn't good, but again, Flacco made it work when the defense helped. End of the 6th inning, 3-3, Rangers and Mariners. Let's use up next year for Texas. Next up for the Rangers, 0 for 2 with a K, center fielder Leody Taveras. Batting second, 0 for 3, second baseman Marcus Semien. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a base on ball, Corey Seager. Hopefully Thornton doesn't get back in because he fucking is terrible. Ruined the big lead that we had. And hopefully we can find a way to squeak this one out. Odin's like, pain is pain. I want to hang out with old doggy dog. My boy. He said, I'm going to send you all kinds of YouTube shit. YouTube video here, YouTube video there, YouTube. Send me all that YouTube. Odin is a brother from another mother. My dog. All right, let me see. It's gonna load. Send it to me twice. Okay, because there's 4 things. Let me see. Oh, wow, look at this. Oh, holy cow. That looks like heaven. Wow. I mean, I'm not really able to eat this type of food anymore, but gosh, that looks great. Amazing looking pizza. Oh my gosh. Wow. I'll just delete the bottom 2 and then I got the top. Wow. That looks so delicious. Yeah. We can eat that. We can eat that pizza together. Holy moly. All right, now we got my favorite guy in the pen in the game. The guy that should have been in earlier, Gabe Spire. Trent Thornton, you're garbage. Gabe Spire, you're a magician. We love you. Let's go, Gabe. And there's going to be games where Gabe fucks up and gives something up. But so far this year, he's been lights out, kind of like Polo, in the box, and you need to recognize that. Let's put the Pat McAfee lookalike in the matchup, and let's have Gabe fuck them up. Let's go, Gabe. First pitch to Tavares. Strike looking, 0-1 count. Let's go, baby. I love a good pizza. In there for a strike, behind the count, 0-2, 2 strike lookings on Tavares. I mean, I like Mexican food and I like Italian food. I like a little bit of everything, Asian food, but a good pizza really does go a long ways. Big swing and a miss, 3 pitches, and then an out. That's how it's supposed to be when you actually have a player that's good. Gabe Spire, strike looking, big swing and a miss, see you later. That's what a good pitcher in the pen looks like. He does this, bring the fucking electricity. Nice job. Next up, 0 for 3, Marcus Semien. Let's go, Gabe, smoke his ass. Another pitch that should have been called strike, but called ball. Shitty call by that ump. Strike swinging, 1 ball and 1 strike from Spire to Semien. Top of the 7th, we're knotted up here at 3. But Spire is our best bullpen guy, and again, once we get Troy Taylor back at some point, then we'll at least have another guy, and then we have Munoz as the closer. And then we were actually, hoping that Brash, once you have major surgery like a Tommy John, it takes time. But if we can go Brash, Spire, right, and then Taylor, and then Munoz, we're going to be cooking. Santos is unreliable. He was supposed to be the guy that we could rely on before Munoz, but I think that we're starting to realize that Taylor is better than him. So Brash, Spire, right, then getting into Taylor, and then Munoz, but 2 of those guys, aren't even ready yet. And once they are, we'll be better. And then you add George Kirby to the mix, we're going to be a hell of a lot better of a team. Top 10, top 15 pitcher in George Kirby, Taylor and Brash, 2 of the best in the pen, not just on the Mariners, but overall. We've been really slacking in that area. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Count now is full from Spire to Semien. Anna knows. Crouch towards third base, and that's a good hit. Just right past Mastroboni to Randy Arozarena, and that's one of the first hits that he's given up almost all season. And again, Marcus Semien, a good leadoff hitter. Typically a guy's not going to go 0 for 4, and there's nothing that you could have done there. Nice hard hit double by Semien. Next up is shortstop Corey Seager. Now, if that was Dylan Moore, maybe he makes that play, maybe he doesn't. If we had Eugenio Suarez, he probably would have made that play, but he's no longer on our team. So, top of the 7th, runner at second with 1 out, and hopefully we can get a double play here and get out of this inning. Cal Raleigh and Spire having a little mound visit. Oh, it's amazing, dude. For me, too, I like combo pizzas the best. More toppings, the better, and whatnot, so. But, if it ends up being just like a meat pizza, just with pepperoni, sausage, and all that, oh, yeah. Big pepperonis, the little pepperonis, give me all that. But I can only eat that kind of stuff like once a month. Where I used to eat that type of shit every day. I'm going to try to look out for my health. 1 ball and 1 strike from Spire to Seager. Back-to-back sinkers by Spire. Go, Gabe. Takes a strike swinging. There we go. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Spire to Seager. Let's go, Gabe. Pitch is outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Spire to Seager. Top of the 7th, we're knotted up at 3. This would be soul crushing if we lose this game, and if we do lose, it'll be because of dumbass Trent Thornton getting in and giving up that big blast. But hopefully we can find a way to manufacture at least one more run or a couple more runs to win this. Popped up. Back. Randy Rosarina is there. There we go. 2 away. Oh, he's tagging up. Get him! Fuck. And throw to third. Miles Mastroboni obviously playing a brand new position, not ready. And that was a great job of adjusting and base running there. Next up is Josh Smith. Can't wait for the day where we actually have a solid third baseman. Never take for granted, Eugenio Suarez. Mariner organization was so stupid to let him walk. Good vibes only. Good hitter that could hit 30 to 40 home runs. Top 10 defender at the position. I mean, we're not going to find that. I mean, what more did you want? You wanted Eugenio Suarez to get 50 home runs a year and to be the best third baseman defender? What were you expecting? Sometimes the grass is not greener on the other side, and some people know how to evaluate talent and some people don't. And it's very clear that some individuals in the Mariner organization are stupid. Top of the 7th, 3-3, Rangers and Mariners. Runner at third, 2 outs. 1-2 count from Spire to Smith. Go, Gabe. Pitch. In there for the strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Spire to Smith. Come on, Gabe. Four-seam fastball way outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Come on, Gabe. Pitch is low and into the dirt. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Count now is full. Come on, Spire. Come on, baby. You're our best guy in the pen. Keep this at 3-3. It's going to give us the best chance to win this game. Yes, there we go, baby. Gabe, you're the man. I wish that we could just pitch Gabe for 3 fucking innings. It's you have a guy that's so good. Fuck having one guy for an inning. You got a guy that's good. Have him go 1, 2, 3 innings. Fuck it. I mean, back when I was a kid, I had fucking Nolan Ryan pitching 9 straight innings and no one would come in. Sometimes he would go 10, 11 innings. And obviously, with Tommy John, he never really had a serious injury from 68 to 93. He might be an alien, but again, it's just, the mentality that, you can only have a pitcher go 5 or 6, and then they have to have 1 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th. Who says? Who made that dumbass rule? If someone is good, they should be able to go 2 or 3 innings. And I know some guys do go 2, but sometimes they go 2 because they don't have anybody else to go, instead of actually being a skilled, player in the pen that could go more than an inning or 2. But I would love to be able to see guys go longer when they're talented, instead of just bringing in a shitty player, giving up a big blast home run, and then you're trying to crawl out of the goddamn ditch again. Thornton, you're terrible. Spire, you're the man. Bottom of the 7th. 3-3, Rangers and Mariners. Let's go. Oh for 0 with a run, 2 base on balls. Second baseman Leo Rivas, who's better than Bliss, and I'm excited to see what he can do. Batting second, shortstop J.P. Crawford, feel like he's feeding off Leo's energy. And batting third, can you please step up sometime, someday, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Come on, J-Rod.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, we blow a lot of games, you know, because it's hard enough for us to hit when you're a bottom 5 hitting team. So when you're a bottom 5 hitting team, you can't have bad starting pitching, right? You can't have bad bullpen, and you can't have bad defense. And then, you know, if you're looking at this Mariner team, there's been games where we've been bad at hitting, bad at pitching, starting, bad in the pen, and also bad defense. How the hell are you going to win when you're bad at all 4 categories? You don't, you know, unless you can get incredibly lucky at the end. And then again, you have to be able to get guys on base. You have to be able to, you know, draw walks, hit by pitches, as long as you don't get hurt, bunt. You know, you have to be able to think outside the box, and I don't think Dan Wilson is that smart of a guy, if I'm being honest. You know, he kind of makes me feel like he's Scott Service 2.0. You know, he's been bailed out by the players quite a few times on his decision making, but there are going to be moments where like, oh God, really? You know, like when he ended up substituting Polo for Garver. Really? Like Polo's cutting 450 and you're going to bring in Garver? But luckily after Garver, we ended up getting on that little rally with Randy Arozarena and it worked out. But again, it was a dumb decision at the time and we got bailed out by the other players. So, but I'm not really, you know, his decision in the pen on a grade of like A+ or like F, his decision making in the pen on who to bring in has been an F this year. Absolutely terrible. You know, we need like a Lou Piniella type. That's really what we need. Someone that has swagger, someone that's going to stand up to the players, and if they screw us over, he comes out there and fucking yells at the ump and gets kicked out. And that will raise the energy for the team. You know, check swing, did he go? Fuck, got him. But, you know, that will always be our best coach. And, you know, some people say, he was out of control. He was out of control at times, but a lot of times it was calculated to be able to get the team motivated. So if he got kicked out, that would raise the energy, and it worked, you know. But hopefully we'll be able to find a guy like that at some point or another. Next up is J.P. Crawford. Come on, J.P. First pitch, J.P. in there for a strike. 0-1 count. Love me some Sweet Lou. I got a Sweet Lou bobblehead. Soto Mojo, baby. Southern Downtown. Back in the 2000s, 2001. Soto Mojo. That South Downtown magic. Love me some Sweet Lou. I got a Sweet Lou Piniella bobble, and I also got a who else do I got? Oh, I totally forgot. It's a set of 3, and I got 2 of them, right? But it's Sweet Lou Piniella, right, for one of the bobbles in the box. The other one is Brett Boone. There's no Brett Boone memorabilia out there. I thought it was very cool that they made a bobble of him. And I think the other one is, Edgar Martinez, I believe. I think Edgar is the one that I need to get. But to be able to do 3 players back in that era, and you chose the fucking manager and Brett Boone, who was awesome for us at the time. You know, they could have went so many other directions. But I definitely need to get the Edgar to complete the set. And I got that gifted last Christmas by my dad. Very cool. He always likes to find me that rare, weird stuff. Chopper and a little run and tap to first. 2 away. Refuse to lose, baby. You know it. I don't know if this is going to be able to show up because it's got green on it, and green gets kind of distorted, but this is the Sweet Lou. Looks like it's not really getting too distorted there. If I get too close to the screen, now it's getting distorted, but you get the idea. I gotta be a little bit farther away, but then if you get a little bit too close, then the green gets distorted on the screen. But Soto Mojo, baby. Sweet Lou Piniella. And even at the bottom of the base, it says Sweet Lou. Incredible. I love stuff like that. I love managers. Let me rephrase that. I like managers when they're good. You know, someone that has that intensity, that not only has the intelligence, but has that fire in their belly. You know, someone does you wrong, you fucking say something. You don't let that shit slide. You know, I want to have that passion. Let's go, baby. The cutoff jerseys, those were the best. 97. I actually have a Ken Griffey Jr. Zone one where they had the cutoff best jerseys. To me, those are some of the best of all time. Very, very rare. You know, those jerseys, the Ken Griffey Jr. usually goes for like $400 or $500. You're going with a pitching change here to Julio. Love me some Lou Piniella, baby. Bottom of the seventh, 3-3, 2 outs. Julio, line drive, and of course he's out. Throw to first. Can you run hard to first for once? Jesus Christ. Lou would not give a thumbs up on that. Like every time I see Julio run to first, he's like jogging. Like, do you care? Like, if you're injured and you got something wrong with your calf, fine. But I'm sick and tired of seeing fucking Julio not running hard. You know, like Luke Raley, no matter what, if it looks like he's going to get on or he's got a 0% chance of being safe, he runs hard every time. Why can't Julio do that? You know, these little subtle details, you know, in your game, you know, it's going to be the difference between Julio being a perennial all-star every year, a Hall of Famer, or not. And just necessarily being a popular, good player, but not, you know, a great player. Not an elite player, not a Hall of Fame player, not an all-star player. Wake up, Julio. Golly. I mean, I don't like criticizing our own guys, but sometimes you got to. Fucking A, dude. What the RKO his ass. Try. Do you want this or not? Are you just rich now and you're just happy that you're in the big leagues? You don't give a fuck? Come on. Next up, 0 for 1 with a run and a base on ball, right fielder Adolis Garcia. And it's not just Julio. There's others too, you know, but I just wish that we would get on the same page. Batting second, DHing Jock Peterson. And batting third baseman Josh Young. But this is not the first time that I've seen Julio kind of half-ass it to first. Like, you know, like, are you afraid that you're going to end up, you know, twisting an ankle, you know, tapping the bag? Are you afraid you're going to pull your Achilles or pull your fucking hammy? Golly. 5 more likes at 30. Let's get there. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. Help yo boy out.
Oh my God.
All right, Judah's in the building, so we'll give him the throwback. He's like, oh, I need to know it's NWSF time. There you go. That's specifically for Judah. He says, I like this one. This is the one that we would play pretty much solo for like almost a year. But again, I didn't really have access to a whole lot besides that. I had 3 others, a rock one, and then 2 other ones that were, you know, kind of like this. Yeah, I know you do, you know, and, you know, you will when you can, you know, and again, you always go above and beyond when you can, you know, and hopefully we can get some more people to do so. Because I'm going to be really honest, if things don't, you know, start to pick up at some point, I may not be able to do this, you know, full time anymore, you know, because I need to be able to pay the internet bill, pay my streaming bill, you know, pay my cell phone, just like basic shit, you know, and, you know, if we're having a hard time with just basic support, then I'm going to have to start doing this like part-time, and I'm going to have to get a part-time job, you know, from home and, you know, work on the phones or something, which I, you know, would not really want to do because I want to take care of Paisley and, you know, take care of my mom, take care of Paisley. I got to, you know, be able to focus my time and, you know, hopefully things will get better. But it's making me a little nervous. You know, 2025 has been a little shaky of a start, and I know the economy isn't the greatest, but hopefully support will pick up. Nice double there by Garcia. Leadoff double by Adolis. Next up is Jock Peterson. It's kind of sad too, because you get a lot of these other YouTubers that are fake and they get so much money in donations where they don't even really need it or deserve it. And then you get people that are really solid, good, genuine people, and they don't get the support that they deserve. Sad but true. But I will never, challenge my integrity and who I am, for more donos or, more likes, more subs, more views, and being fake. Just won't do it. Top of the 8th, 3-3. Mariners and Rangers. Vargas on the mound, Young in the box. Runner at second. 2-0 count from Vargas to Young. Takes a strike looking with the cutter. 2 balls and 1 strike to Josh Young. Come on, baby. Strike looking again. 2 balls and 2 strikes. We're in the top of the 8th, 3-3 Rangers and Mariners. We got a solo dinger by Polo, solo dinger by Tellez. Thornton came in and fucked it all up. Gave up a 2-run blast to make it 3-3 when it was 3-1. And now we just have to pray that we can get something to win this game 4-3, either in regulation or in 10 or extras. Little dribbler. Throw to first. Got him. There we go. 2 away. Young grounded out. Garcia to third. Thank God. Next up, first baseman Jake Whataburger. 1 for 3 and 2 Ks. Top of the 8th, 3-3 Rangers and Mariners. And again, we've had games like this where we started off really hot in the beginning and then we get nothing at the end. Where a couple games ago, we had a homer by Julio, a homer by Cal, and it was like 2-0. Things were looking good, and then we didn't do anything the rest of the game. And hopefully that's not the case here. We need to be able to score 4 runs, 7 to 10 hits, and that typically gets us the victory. And we're at 3 right now, but we only have 4 hits. And out of those 4, we have 2 solo dingers. So something needs a change. Berger grounded out to the pitcher. Boom! That's what I'm talking about. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 8th inning and let's fucking win this bitch. Huh? Jake Whataburger. See ya. Good job, Vargas. Next up for the Mariners, our best hitter in 2025. I can't believe I'm saying that. 2 for 3 with a run and an RBI, Jorge Polanco. We can't win without you, and that's true. Batting second, 0 for 3 with 2 Ks. A guy that's been struggling as of late, but I still love you. Big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a base on ball, left fielder, Randy Arozarena. The hero in that last game against the Astros when we were down 5-0. Nothing. You're down 5-0 in the 8th, and then somehow, some way, you come back and you win 7-6. You can't even write that script up. That was one of the best comebacks I've ever seen. And hopefully we can find a way to win this one here today. Get it. Where are we at on the likes right now? Are we over 20? I hope so. We're what, 4 away from 30? We need some of the OG heavy hitters, new heavy hitters, OG heavy hitters. Help! They got me praying every day. I'm like, not the sports gods, the gods, the Buddhas, the higher ups, the aliens, the Matrix, whoever's in control. I need help. One more like to 30, and hopefully my message is heard. I don't want to have to start selling all my fucking memorabilia or having to get another job. It took a long time to get to this point. Polo with a single. Good start. Nice little bloop single by Polo. There we go. Next up, big dumper, catcher Cal Raleigh. Bottom of the 8th, 3-3, Rangers and Mariners. Polo with that single. Next up is big dumper Cal Raleigh. First pitch is outside. 1-0 count. Come on, Cal. Did you get the memo? Let's get it. Trident's up. I know what we need. Throw to first, safe. And anytime this happens, good shit happens. Go Mariner Moose. Oh baby, there it is! Back! See ya! This is the good luck charm right here, baby. We brought this up when we were down 5-0 with the Stros. I normally don't bring the baubles and my toys out. Ken Griffey Jr. 1989 Upper Deck bauble. Let's go! Let's go, baby! 2-run jack by big dumper Cal Raleigh. Let's get it! Woo! Telling you, sports gods, they listen. They're like, okay, O-Dog put up the moose, and then literally 2 seconds later, goodbye, Trident's up. Sports gods love your boy. Let's go. Let's go. Woo! That's what I'm talking about. That move, like I get these kind of moments, where I feel like something's going to happen, or we need that little lift or that little boost. And it's either, busting out some of the memorabilia. Mariner Moose is typically, it comes out when we're down, but when we end up bringing it out when we're tied, sometimes that magic eventually, and that electricity that we've just all been waiting for. Cal's been struggling this year. Trident's up in the City Connects. He's like, okay, let's make it happen. Boom! 5-3 Mariners, and we're winning this game now. 100%. We are winning. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I mean, it works every time. And again, I'm going to keep this Ken Griffey Jr. bauble. When I brought it out when we were down 5-0, we came back and won. And for every game moving forward, I'm keeping this right here. And it's going to give us that good Soto mojo, that Southern downtown magic where the Mariners had in the early 2000s. Captain with a 5-er. Stacks on stacks. Racks on racks. Cactus Jack. You bring the moose out. You get the fucking electricity. You talk to the sports gods. And then you ask politely, can you help? And they say, yes, we can. Randy fouled out to the catcher. 1 away. Let's go. We're at 12. 88 to go. Torpedo, yeah, he's using it today. And again, I think Randy and Cal are using it. And Cal's been struggling. And if anyone could really benefit from that torpedo bat, that can have home run power to hit 30 to 40 homers that he's had, it's him. He's been on a slump this year. He got that big extension, and he hasn't been playing good this year. Let's be real. And he's one of my favorite players on the team, and I can be honest. Oh, broken bat by Rayleigh. 2 away. But sometimes you need a change. And there we go. Torpedo bat. Apparently it works. Buenos dias, buenos noches, buenos tardes, vamos, maneros, baby. Anna in the building. Let's go. Let's go. Home run for Polo. Yeah. Home run for Rowdy. Yeah. Home run for Cal. Yeah. Let's go, baby. We're really turning the corner here after that Astro win. You know, wouldn't it be crazy, you know, even with all of these injuries, that we still end up getting first place somehow, some way, and we end up winning like 88 to 90 games, even though starting off the year 5-8. You know, I still feel that we can get first or second place. I honestly feel that we're better than the A's, we're better than the Angels, we're better than the Astros, and this is our biggest competition. And if we can just find a way, you know, once Kirby gets back, Troy Taylor, Matt Brash, I think we're going to be better than them, and we'll catch up to their record. I really believe that. Yeah, I know that we're going to go through, you know, moments where we look like we stink, but I still believe in this team. You know, not just me being a fan. Like, I think we have enough, you know, in the roster, and maybe the torpedo bat will be that extra thing to help us get over the hump. Fuck it. Martin on the mound. Rowdy Tellez in the box. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Let's go, Rowdy. Big dumper, baby. Pitches inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Let's go. Fuck yeah, man. And again, I haven't brought him out at all. And then we bring him out, and then literally 5 seconds later, boom, shaka waka. Thank you, sports gods. And the sports gods know I'm not a greedy individual. I'm not going to ask, you know, for home runs every inning. I'm not an idiot, you know. Big swing and a miss. Down goes Tellez. But who cares? Big dumper strikes again. Finally. No, he's been really, really itching for that. And you know who's next? For like a fucking obliterator bomb? This guy right here. When he ends up hitting his home run, whenever it is, it's going to be like a double-decker, triple-decker. It's going to, out of the fucking stadium, it's going to be something big. Because he's really been struggling. But once he ends up connecting either this series or possibly the Cincinnati series on the road, maybe we'll see it then. Keep note of that. And then we got the Blue Jays on the road after that. We need to try to win 2 out of 3 here, unless we win back-to-back games, and we can try to talk about the Brooms, but we don't want to get cocky. And we try to win 2 out of 3 on the road in Cincinnati against Elliot De La Cruz. He's great, but we can find a way. And then we got to try to win 2 out of 3 in Toronto starting next Friday on Apple TV Plus against a $500 million man, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We can do it. We can do it, baby. 5-3 Rangers. And again, when we get to 4 runs, 7 to 10 hits, we win at home 90% of the time. Looking pretty good so far. And as long as you don't bring in a guy like a Trent Thornton, we're going to win. Let's go. What do you want to see for a photo, my guy? You know what time it is right now? Andres Munoz time, baby. Maurice never lets us down. Yeah, they did. He did use a torpedo bat. I think Randy's using one today, and Cal's using one. And Cal hit a home run off the torpedo bat. I'm listening to the radio broadcast with, even though I got the game on. Sometimes I like to listen to Riz on the radio instead. It kind of just depends on who's calling the game on the TV side. But with Valley and and obviously who we have with our OG that I love, we'll see how it goes. With Ryan Rowland Smith, I don't think he's that great, but I think Valley has a little bit more, a little bit more of a connection. But again, it just kind of depends on what combination that they would like to roll with. 2-0 pitch in there for a strike. Like, too bad we can't have like our main guy and Riz together, but both of those guys do the play-by-play. They're not color. But I think the broadcast would be the best if it was those two together, because they're the most knowledgeable and they have the best voices. But again, you got to have one guy for radio and a guy for TV. So, top of the 9th, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Oh, it's in play by Jonah Heim, and that's a single. Fuck! Damn it. And that's why you need someone better at first base than fucking Rowdy Tellez. Jesus Christ. Rivas tried to get it to him. That's normally an easy out, but like makes you kind of wonder, man, maybe we should have had Ty France still there or something. Jesus. Come on. Rivas making a great play right there, but the throw needs to be a little bit more accurate. But Tellez, yeah, that's on Rivas, not Tellez, after you watch that replay. If you follow me on social media, I can send you a link. I mean, obviously, you know, you can pay for the Root Sports app for like $20 a month, but if you want a free link to the game. Harris is in, pinch hitting now. Top of the 9th. 0 outs, 5-3 Mariners. Let's not blow this, Munoz. 1 ball and 1 strike from Munoz to Harris. Justin Harris in the box. Come on, baby. You know what to do. That one fouled off. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Let's go, baby. You know what it is. Don't fuck this up. Mariner Moose. And crushes that one foul. Oh, my God, that was close. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Munoz to Harris. Goldie is good. You know, I know some people didn't like Dave Sims and whatnot, but I think Goldie, for his age, you got to think how young he is. When you get a guy that's in his 30s or 40s, you know, he's really good at what he does. It's not like Goldie's fucking 60 or 70. So it's on the screen here if you're looking. So at Orion_NWSF for the X, or the Instagram account is at NW Sports Fanatics. Oh shit, crushes that one, fading foul. But I think, you know, Riz is a little bit older, and he's got that kind of, you know, twang in his voice and a certain type of energy. But I think that both of those guys are great, you know. It kind of just depends. Obviously, the color guys are the weakness, you know, on both, not only the TV side, but also the radio side. But, you know, obviously Goldie and Riz are great at what they do. You know, you got to think once Goldie gets a little bit older, you know, I think he's from St. Louis, and they're going to try to poach him, just like they tried to poach Dave Sims to go back to New York. So, and then at that point, maybe Riz will be the TV guy, maybe. But, you know, I like having both those guys. Yeah, I know Goldie's from St. Louis. And Harris strung out swinging. Yeah, baby! 2 away. Nice job, Munoz. There we go. See you later, baby. Way to bring that electricity. Harris is down. Yes, sir. Kind of too late at this point, but yeah, you might think that, but if you've ever listened to anybody else in baseball, try listening to other broadcasts of other teams, and you'll realize how much better he really is. You know, you may not think so now, but try listening to other broadcasts of other teams, and you'll realize how good he really is. Next up is Marcus Semien. To me, Goldie is actually one of the best based on his age. You know, for guys that are like under 45, little dribbler, double play, boom, and the game is over. Woo! Let's go. Let's go. Yes, sir, baby. That's how you do it. And that big dumper, torpedo bat, that got us the win after Thornton fucked it all up. Final score, Seattle Mariners 5, Texas Rangers 3. And when the Mariners win, what the fuck do? We dance, baby. Mariners win. Mariners win. Mariners win. Woo! Mariner Moose strikes again, baby. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Like, I don't think people realize, like, people like to criticize a lot, whether, who's in the booth and whatnot. But, our play-by-play guys are actually some of the best on radio and TV. Again, if you didn't like Sims, everyone's got their own opinion, but again, it's like, it's better than having NG Mantink in there in color, and Ryan Roland Smith in color, whether he's on TV or radio, isn't good either. I mean, let's be real. Like, there's certain guys, Dave Valley is okay for color, but we could have someone better, but that's the weakness. But, to me, Goldie is great. And again, as he gets older, he's going to get better and better, and you may prefer Riz. Riz is great too. And Riz is a little bit older and whatnot. Riz might have more of a baseball voice, but you can't criticize a guy that's like in his 30s or 40s and try to act like he's in his 60s or 70s or 50s, 60s, and 70s. When you get older, you get more of that grandpa voice, and baseball is known for guys that have the grandpa voice. So you don't really get a lot of guys that are in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, let alone that have the intelligence and have a pretty good voice. And, are their voices better, than Goldie that are out there? Yeah, but I show me somebody that's around his age that's better than him. It'll be a hard find for you to find in MLB. There's a lot of people out there that stink for announcers. And trust me, I listen to every broadcast of every team, so I should know. Nice job, Big Dumper. $20 holla, thank you so much. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks. Little cactus jack, bang bang, torpedo bat, Cal Raleigh, let's go. Let's go. I mean, if you want to listen to some shitty broadcast, wait until a game is on YouTube. Wait until we get on Apple TV Plus. Wait until it's ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. If you want to talk about shitty announcing, again, appreciate what you have when you have it. Riz is great, right? And Goldie is great. 10 out of 10. And if I didn't truly believe that, I wouldn't say it. But the color guys and girls, they're not very good. But again, hard to be able to find good combos in baseball. It's not the same as like football in the NFL, where you're going to get the Nance and Romo, combination, or Burkhardt and Brady, or whatever combination that you have, or Burkhardt and Olsen, or having Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt, who's the best, in sports. Those don't grow on trees. You have to realize that. Nice win. Bobble strikes again. The Mariner Moose strikes again. Oh, and I had the Sweet Lou Piniella bobble, and I got the Brett Boone bobble. I showed the Sweet Lou bobble, and then the Griffey bobble, and then Boom Shakalaka. Here we go. What do we want to do for photos? What do we want to do here? We got Reflect. Chief was in here, but then ended up dipping. Sarah, Cole, we got them. Captain and Reflect. What do you guys want to see for photos? Yeah, and obviously we've had Dave Niehaus, legend, Vin Scully, passed away, Dodger legend, Mariner legend, Harry Carey, Cub legend. I mean, so it all depends on what you are leaning to. But baseball is typically announcers that are great. They have the experience, but they're 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. I mean, how many guys that are going to be like 20, 30, 40, that are good at their job? And again, if you're going to compare it to someone that's much older, it's not a fair comparison. You got to compare them to people their age and what they're doing. And I'm happy that we actually have Goldie and Riz because they're great. Cal, Polo, Munoz, Miller. Yee! Cal. And if anyone was due besides Luke Raley and Rowdy Tellez, it's this guy. Nice job. Now, if we could only get this guy fucking settled in at a point or another. Great victory. And again, if we would have lost that last game against the Stros, we probably don't win this game. This was huge. That's the first pose. And let me get the second one. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. We're going to be above 500. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And again, I still believe that we have a very good chance of getting first and second place in this division. You know, and again, you're going to get people that love to overreact and say how terrible we are and, you know, that we're never going to amount to anything. You know, but again, they're not real fans. And again, you have to realize it's a lot easier to be negative, right? But again, you have to look at some of the positives. And have you ever noticed those people that talk shit never end up praising the team when we do something good, you know? You get these bandwagon fans out there, and again, you have to be mentally strong to be a fan of a team in the Pacific Northwest. Facts. Stay strong. I will be the leader. I will get us to the promised land. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Polo, you know, again, having him in the lineup set the tone. Then Rowdy Tellez, you know, out of nowhere, batting .50, not even batting 100, finally getting another hit. He only had one hit all year, I believe, and then boom, home run, big one, right? And then the biggest one there at the end, besides the Mariner Moose, big dumper, Cal Raleigh, baby. Huge. City Connects, baby. Not just good, he's been elite. How many guys in baseball have even peaked at 450? How many guys in baseball right now are batting over 400? I'm waiting. You know, so it's not just good, you know, and again, he went from a 0 to hero. We're talking about elite. You know, he's batting 419. You show me another guy that's batting 419 right now. You know, there's not very many guys that are, hell, there's not very many guys that are batting over 300. You know, if you go down the list in MLB, there's not a lot batting over 300. Not many batting over 350. And a hell of a lot less than batting 400 plus. Exceptional. Elite. 419 average from Polo. Let's not get it twisted. We're not just good with this guy. This guy has been out of this world good. Elite. Polo. He should get a fucking sponsorship from Ralph Lauren. Jesus. Let's go. Anytime you can beat rivals and the guys that are at the top of the division, oh, baby. He's back, baby. Let's go. Yeah, I mean, good for him, too. I mean, he's been terrible this year. He was great in spring training. Tellez the Tank, baby. Very satisfying win. And now we're only 2 games behind from getting to 500. If we end up sweeping, right, we're at 500. And then we got the Reds and the Blue Jays. That might be a little easier than what we have here with the Rangers. So have faith. Let's go. Right hands up. Well, I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. Anything else that you want to be able to see reflect? Our captain? Yeah, and he had bases loaded early. So, I mean, if he didn't settle in, like Anna said, early in the game, we could have easily been down like 3-0. And if that would have happened in that first inning, maybe we don't get the Polo home run. Maybe we don't get the Tellez home run to give us the 2-0 lead. Everything happens for a reason. And, when you end up having that confidence on the mound, knowing that you have a run or two in the bucket, and to give you that lead, you're going to, breathe a little bit easier instead of being like, oh, fuck, I just gave up 3 runs in the first inning. We're fucked. And then the rest of the team on the bench is like, oh, we're fucked. And, it's hard to come back that way, even though we came back from 5-0 against the Stros. But again, everything happens for a reason, and that one felt very good. And then tomorrow we are going to be live, same time, same place, and let's see what we got. I think Brian Woo's on the mound tomorrow, baby. Woo-hoo! Let's go. Let's take a quick peek. It's the year of the Woo. You feel me? And we got Rocker versus Woo, and Rocker's got an ERA of almost 8. We're going to win tomorrow, okay? And then on Sunday, it's Eovaldi on the mound, and this is the rubber match on Sunday. We're going to do this. I'll cover the NASCAR Cup Series as well. They're at Bristol, I believe. But we got Logan Gilbert and Eovaldi. That could go either way. But if we can find a way to win Woo, and we can get some production with Gilbert, we will have a chance for a sweep. But we want to make sure we get the Woo win first before we get count our chickens before they hatch. But to be able to have Miller, find a way, then we get our 2 best in Woo and Gilbert until Kirby comes back. I like our chances. So I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. And let's soak this one in. Final score, Seattle Mariners 5, Rangers 3. And when we win, we fucking dance. Mariner Moose, you strike again. I love you, baby. Munoz, Polo, Miller, Tellez. It was a team effort. Let's go. And I got one question for you. Talk sports like us. Your boy Ryan with Fanatics. I love you guys, and I'm out. Okay.